Look at Europe in the late 1930s. The Axis powers are rapidly expanding, and the threat of a global conflict is becoming undeniable. The United States government realized early on they were facing a completely new scale of warfare, one requiring a radical biological edge. This realization led the military to Professor Abraham Erskine. He proposed a bold theoretical framework called Project Rebirth, designed to engineer human evolution to its absolute peak. The military committed to the manufacturing of a perfect human weapon, viewing biological engineering as the primary tool to win this new scale of global conflict. Meanwhile, on the streets of Manhattan, Steve Rogers was struggling to survive. He was an impoverished orphan growing up in a harsh, working-class neighborhood. Despite his circumstances, Rogers had a deep moral conviction to stop the Axis powers. He repeatedly visited military recruiting stations, fully committed to enlisting. But recruiters turned him away every single time. Rogers weighed barely 98 pounds, and his frail, underdeveloped physique made him completely unsuited for live combat. Professor Erskine viewed those repeated rejections differently. He ignored the obvious physical deficits and zeroed in on Rogers' exceptional moral character and his unyielding ideals. The most advanced biological asset in the United States arsenal would rely entirely on a candidate whose true strength didn't show up on a medical exam. Project Rebirth operated as a precise two-part scientific mechanism. First, Rogers received injections of Erskine's highly specialized proprietary chemical serum. Next came the crucial secondary catalyst. The scientists exposed Rogers to a concentrated dose of a unique, carefully calibrated form of radiation. This diagram models the cellular response. The radiation triggers the dormant serum, rapidly rewriting Rogers' biology. His framework lengthens and muscle mass leaps to a massive build. Simultaneously, output meters spike, pushing his agility, stamina, reflexes, and strength to the absolute maximum limits. It required exactly this strict binary input of serum and radiation to build a physical structure capable of matching his powerful spirit. The procedure worked flawlessly. Erskine's life's work was validated by the successful creation of a fully developed peak human. Before anyone could safely document the exact chemical formula, a Nazi spy infiltrated the facility and assassinated Professor Erskine. In a matter of seconds, the attack created a devastating reality. Steve Rogers went from being the first fully developed super soldier to an entirely unreplicable anomaly, the absolute last of his kind. There is a common misconception that the serum turned Rogers into a naturally invincible or biologically perfect entity. The reality is much harsher. To maintain that massive physical upgrade, he has to adhere to a strict, unyielding daily regimen of intense physical exercise. He also underwent grueling, extensive combat training to learn how to synchronize his newly enhanced traits in high-pressure combat situations. The serum's optimization of the human body extended to Rogers' neurological functions, pushing his cognitive processing to its peak efficiency. This mental expansion amplified his pre-existing charisma and sharpened his shrewd decision-making into elite tactical insight. A perfectly optimized body is completely useless on the battlefield without the intense discipline and strategic processing speed required to actually direct it. Realizing they couldn't mass-produce these soldiers, the United States government made a final pivot. They decided to leverage this singular biological asset as a living symbol of inspiration for the public. They outfitted him in a colorful, highly visible patriotic uniform and deployed him on secret missions under the operational name of Captain America. Project Rebirth provided the biological hardware necessary for a man defined by his ideals to finally fight for them. The laboratory built the soldier, but the hero was already there, waiting for the strength to match his spirit.